So I've just had the most amazing experience with otters that I've ever had. An hour and 45 minutes with a mum and her pup, and it was absolutely amazing. And I'm going to share that along with all the other highlights I've had of 4 days on the Isle of Jura, wildlife sightings that is, including red deer, white-tailed eagle, all sorts of things. And if you stay to the end of the video, I'm going to show the top photos I took of Otter. So I'm sat here at the south side of Jura, looking across here to Isle, and it's a really nice spot, the sun's shining, and I thought I'd take the opportunity just to recap on our first 2 full days on the island Jura. Had a nice bird actually on the ferry on the way out here, and it wasn't at all what I expected. We were coming over on the ferry, we saw a couple of great northern divers and you know, gannets and the usual guillemots and things. And I saw a small falcon, and it was flying, I think, from one island to another island. Anyway, it flew over and it sort of came along behind the ship, and it seemed to connect with the ship for a couple of minutes, and I fired off some photos, and it was a merlin, our Britain's smallest bird of prey. Had a squarish tail and the markings of a merlin, and it stayed with the boat a couple of minutes, and then carried on its way. So that was a real surprise. Tested my ID skills, because it really wasn't merlin habitat in the middle of the sea. But our first full day on the island was yesterday. That was Saturday, and it was a really good day. We got up just after dawn and drove up to the northern part of the island and explored all of that. Saw lots of deer, distant groups, stags on the hillside silhouetted, but obviously we also saw some really close ones. So we saw quite a lot of bucks, quite a lot of hinds, and a few close-up stags. And possibly the best encounter was a stag that was sat down quite close to the road, very tolerant of us, didn't seem to mind that we were there. And it would, every time a distant stag would roar, it would roar too. Could change angles on it quite a bit, not going far from the road so as not to spook it, but there was some really nice light, and so I could get it in quite a warm light and also get it taking directly into the light and silhouette it. So I quite enjoyed that. We did see some otters yesterday, 2 separate otters, but they were not really photographable. And if I tried to approach them, but it was basically I was going to be upwind of them, and that wasn't going to work. So didn't really persist with that. A nice white-tailed eagle, juvenile, sat on a little island and got some photos of that. It flew at one point, and I got some photos of it in flight. Not great light, but it was a really nice encounter. And a male hen harrier. Not really good enough to photograph. I captured some what I would call record shots, evidence of what it was, but nothing to enter into any competitions. Let's put it that way. And then this morning, up again, just after dawn, and got out while the light was really nice early on. It was really still. The water was really still, but it was high tide, so there wasn't really much chance of otters that early on. But we did find some seals hauled out on rocks, and there was a really nice light behind them with the mainland in the background and some cloud, and so I enjoyed photographing them. Checked out a couple of places for otters, but there weren't any there. We saw one distant one in the middle of the channel between Isle and Jura, but probably it was one from the other side, because it was more over the other side. And found some nice stone chats to photograph, and a gold crest, which I didn't get to photograph, but it was nice to see. And I was actually sat watching the gold crest by this little stone bridge, and I got up to leave and realised there was a sparrowhawk that had landed probably about 2 meters from me on the other side of the stone bridge. And when I got up, we were both surprised by each other, I think, and it flew off. No photos, because it was literally, it was no sooner there than I noticed it and it was gone. So we then carried on to the ferry port, and there was a place I wanted to check out for otters again. And whilst we were walking down the coast, the first thing that happened was a white-tailed eagle flew by, and it was really good views. And a juvenile again, just flying up the sound between Jura and Isle. And in no time at all, we found 3 otters, one of which disappeared. I think it got wind of us, literally. But the other 2, we watched for about an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes. It was a mother and a cub, and there was lots of interaction between them. They kept coming out onto rocks with different fish. Very successful, the mother was at fishing. Very, very high success rate, so they're doing well, I think. And whenever they caught something big enough, they would come to shore with it, and after a while you could predict where they were going to come ashore, and I was able to get fairly close and take quite a lot of photos with my 1 to 500 lens with a converter on, so I was shooting at 700 up to 700 mil, but yeah, being able to fill the frame with that reach. Lots of interaction between the young one and its mum. At one point they got separated, and the cub was going one way and the mum was going the other way, and the cub was calling for the mother, and the mother turned around and came back, and they were probably apart for about 5 minutes, and then they got reunited, and that was really nice to see. So I'm looking forward to looking back at those shots and sharing a few with you. This is my first YouTube video. I'm just starting out. I hope you like it. Please hit like and subscribe if you do. Help me get started in this space. Yeah, I hope you enjoy the video.